Thank you for welcoming. Dear ladies and gentlemen, today Bhive is visiting iBusiness School, one of the top business schools in the world. And today we're talking with Ignacio Gafo, Associate Dean of Part-Time Programs here, and Ignacio is the expert in marketing. He's willing to share some insights on how the economy of Latin America is currently developing, recent, not very pleasant developments in the region, and how the future is being seen from the perspective of Europe in terms of external help, external investments, both from the ancient world and from the US. So, Ignacio, what is your opinion on the current trends and developments in the Latin region?
Okay, so if I take a look at Latin America and observe what has happened in the last 5 years approximately, I think things have changed dramatically. So the region went through quite a few years of stability and growth. I think the main country was Brazil, and you had other ones performing pretty well, like Chile. Mm-hmm. But what we have seen in the last years is that there is a change in that trend, and things are becoming a bit more complicated. Mm-hmm. In the sense that, the economy, it's recovering, but not at the speed expected to. And also, right now, if you take a look at the economy, China, who is the main engine for economic growth, is not growing as everybody thought. Okay, so this is having a big impact in the region, in the sense that the price for commodities is definitely affected. Okay, it's been pushed down. Mm-hmm. Okay, and if you consider that all the exports that these countries make on commodities, okay, that's having a very, very deep impact in the region. That's one economic thing we need to consider. Okay, and the second thing is the recovery is mainly taking place in the US, it's mainly taking place in Europe, and this is basically bringing the investment out of the region and back to the US and to Europe. Mm-hmm. It is a big challenge for Latin America. Some years ago, the situation was different in the sense that the economy was somewhat stagnant in Europe and the US, so investors that were looking for a nice return were very open to invest in the region. But that's not happening anymore. Yeah. So the investment is going back to the US. So it's from an economic perspective, it's challenging in the sense that you have both factors. Your main export products are being pushed down in terms of pricing, and also the investment you require for long-term development, it's also significantly reduced in the sense that, investments are more risk-averse in the region. So that's one thing, okay, but when we analyze the region, I think that if you take a global perspective, you need to go beyond economics, okay, because there are other factors that I firmly believe are also influencing business, and you also need to take them under consideration. So the other factor you need to consider is everything related to politics. What's going on with politics in the region. And also we take a look at that, and we also see there's a big instability in the region. So the last years it was concentrated in some countries like Venezuela. Mm-hmm. Okay, but what we are observing now is that the instability is moving all around the region, right? So that's happening in Brazil, where they have a big dilemma with everything related to corruption, or even Chile. Chile was extremely stable from a political and social perspective, but things are changing dramatically. Even in Chile, they found that quite a few cases of corruption. Okay, so also from a political perspective, things are not going that well. You also have exceptions. Okay, let's take a look at the entire continent. Okay, and Cuba is going through a very nice transformation period, and Peru is showing very, very steady growth. Which is good. But in any case, if we take a look at the region in general, we can definitely say that situation does not seem to be ideal. On the social arena, okay, things are also interesting. I would not say challenging, but I would say interesting. Mm-hmm. Things have improved significantly. I mean, in the last years, there's been a lot of social welfare. I mean, the states have invested a lot in infrastructure. Just take a look at Brazil. Mm-hmm. I think, objectively speaking, the investment has been significant, and the quality of life of people, especially people in the low-end segments, has improved a lot. Okay, so That's very, very positive in the sense that, yeah, the bases are there and things are improving. But what's making the situation interesting is that, well, in the end of the day, there is a kind of expectancy from those low-end social classes, okay, that the investment is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So they saw some benefits for some years, and now there is expectancy, okay, that that investment, that improvement in their quality of life is gonna remain there. Because also, if we take a look at how the wealth is distributed across the region, things have not really improved. I mean, it's pretty much concentrated in the high-end segment. I mean, rich people are very, very wealthy. Still, I would say on the social perspective, I do think we do have some good benefits or some good trends that we need to consider. Also, if we take a look at technology, just to mention another factor, I think things are improving. Okay, so if we take a look at deployment of, I don't know, a 5G or 3G or smartphones, the percentages you can find in some countries are beyond 60-70%, which is pretty good.
Sure.
So there are some good factors. There's been a very good investment in the past, but still, and that's my main point about the region is things have changed. Okay, so traditional approaches are not anymore valid, or easy investments are not going to be there. Okay, so of course, as a business person, you cannot get involved in all these areas. It's impossible. But you have to consider that, well, you need to manage things slightly differently. You cannot go ahead with easy investments anymore. You know, and you're not going to get your money back very, very quickly.
Right.
And that was basically the approach of many US and Europeans investing in the region. You know, they were expecting, I don't know, 3-digit growth very quickly. You know, get their money back and then sell back the equity that they had acquired in Brazil or Peru or wherever. You know, and this is not valid anymore. So what's interesting here, Latin America is still has a huge potential. So I personally lived there for 5 years in the region, and I know it very, very well. I mean, it's definitely a region with a very high potential in the sense that it's very, very rich in terms of incomes. I mean, they have a lot of products that can be exported, that's one thing. Human capital is still underdeveloped, but there's definitely a big potential over there. And market size-wise is huge. Just take a look at Brazil. Still, things might not be that appealing, but still it's an incredible market. And there's a huge potential. So I definitely would say yes, the region has potential. They need to make some adjustments, okay, and hopefully things will recover in the main markets, okay, so that the investment can go back and the prices can go slightly up. But yes, business is there, so it's a very good place to invest. But also what I realized is there are quite a few good companies over there that require a know-how from outside. Actually, what happened in the years where we had the recession in Europe and US is quite a few Europeans and Americans flew over there. No? They found some opportunities, but still, I would say Latin America in general, I think could be a very, very interesting place for people that have the right know-how from Europe and the US. In the sense that, yes, markets are more competitive here in Europe or in the US, so we have a lot of know-how that can be definitely exported. So a role that it's basically on demand and is there. You just need to be qualified, and yes, you might need to know the right people. They're very willing to understand, you know, what are the best practices, what's the know-how that we can bring from Western economies to Latin America. You know, and that's for sure something which is highly appreciated. This does not mean that every single European or American can go there. Okay, which is a common thinking. I mean, you go there and you guess you know more than they do, which is not true. I guess they're qualified. Actually, you can find extremely qualified people there. Maybe they don't have the experience we have, in the sense that you've been more subject to competition or to global competition or different things, you know. But so in that regard, if you're really specialized in one area, you have a very strong expertise, and you take the right approach, I think that could be a very good opportunity. What I mean by right approach means, in the end of the day, we speak about different countries with different culture, and different competitive and business scenarios. So if you really take a humble approach, let me put it like that, and you take the time to know the market, to know the business, to understand what's particular, what's specific about those countries, and you are listening to them and you understand their problems, I really believe there is a very, very nice opportunity for Europeans, Americans, or people from other economies. That's my experience. I worked, for instance, 1 year in Chile as a consultant, and that's precisely what they wanted. I found extremely qualified people, extremely, and they knew the market very, very well. And what they were basically looking for were new ideas. You know, they wanted to evolve, they wanted to go beyond, you know, and they were very eager to learn about, in this case, my experience in Europe, you know. So that's something that could definitely work. Okay, but again, it's not like going to Greenfield. I wouldn't say that, and that's an important consideration. I think you have, again, very qualified people over there. You just need to see what's your added value based on the experience we have here. And interestingly, I would say in Europe, in America, we've gone through very, very tough years. I mean, all the factors, economic, social, etc., technological, are things we've gone through. So I think we have very good learning that we could share with them, in the sense that Europe and the US are now recovering. Latin America is going through, I don't know if a recession or stagnation.
Still, a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, it's still a lot of opportunities, definitely. So yeah, there's a very, very nice business opportunity for people going there. Yeah.
Well, this is very interesting, and I think that, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard very great insights from the professional about what's going on in Latin America. And the very last question that we have right now in Bhive is obviously something that is intended for our consultants. How would you suggest going about addressing specific industries? Do you think that some specific industries are underperforming that much that they would require the help of external consultants?
Well, that's a very broad question, but I would say off the top of my head, okay?
Off the top of absolutely.
I'm sure I'm leaving out some of them, but for instance, everything related to technology. Technology. That's for sure an industry where they need a lot of consultants. Okay, that's for sure. Okay, and they need help with that, in the sense that yes, the Western economies are a bit ahead of them, and we know how to deal with commoditization, how to deal with tough competition, etc. So that's an area that I can definitely think about. And of course, in this one, telecom companies could be a very good sub-segment, if you like, within the industry. Okay, it's a huge one. In also another one I find which could be interesting is energy. Energy, in the sense that, for instance, in Europe we are doing a significant progress in everything related to machine, you know, automatizing, going beyond in terms of value-added services for energy management. So that's something where I really think we really have an edge that could be exploited, that can be extrapolated to them. More industries I can think about is, well, there is a big potential in fast-moving consumer goods, especially if you think about local companies. Okay, so of course you have Nestle, you have Procter & Gamble, etc., and these guys are basically bringing their own employees over the region to support, but you can also think about very large, I don't know, Colombian companies in fast-moving consumer goods, and I'm pretty sure, well, I can tell you also, actually, based on my experience with the students, that they are very eager to get additional know-how.
Right.
And let me think about more areas. And I would say another segment that we have identified, which is in need of help, is everything related to family business. It's not an industry.
Family business, yes.
You know, but in the region, if you take a look at the composition of companies, you will find very, very, very large family businesses, you know. And basically the family businesses are having, I would say, the traditional dilemma, which is, okay, how do I hand over to the next generation, or how do I professionalize my business? So that's also something that I would say, yeah, indeed, they might want a lot of help.
So there's pretty much a lot of those industries that are in need of highly qualified talent.
And the last one, okay, before I forget, is everything related to pharma. Okay, especially for instance medical equipment. I think there's a lot of room for improvement there. Okay, you take hospitals, etc. How they've managed, how they approach innovation, etc. Based on my experience, that's also an area which is going to be very, very open to change or to new approaches. Yeah.
Right. So this is huge. Just as you mentioned, this is very broad. So as you can see, we indeed have technology, TMT sector, we have pharmaceuticals, we have that whole succession planning for family businesses. It literally immense opportunities that are facing you in Latin America. Join us, stay tuned, and thank you very much, Ignacio, for your time.
My pleasure.
These are really, really interesting insights into the industry.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.